Apologize, everybody. I ran into a little accident on the highway, so delayed.
Now, it's now 1:11 on September 30th, and the Medical Cannabis Commission meeting is now called to order. This meeting is subject to the Open Meetings Act, and the act is available for review at the back of the room.
Is the microphone on? We can't hear you.
Yeah, hear you.
Oh yeah, you can't have the fan going and the speakers going.
Oh, right. So we hear or we die. We hear or we sweat. I'll take your pick.
Is there smoking now?
Hold on, it's just gonna take a second because it blew the breaker. The coffee pot was plugged in.
It's now 1:12 on September 30th, and the Medical Cannabis
Still
Commission
can't
meeting.
hear you.
It's going to take just a second. So, can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Now 1:13 on September 30th, and the Medical Cannabis Commission meeting is now called to order. This meeting is subject to the Open Meetings Act, and the act is available for review at the back of the room. Today's agenda is available in the back. If there are documents to be discussed in this meeting, copies of these documents are also available in the back of the room. Before taking roll call, I need to provide an update on the Commission's membership. Kim Lowe and Bruce Bailey resigned from the Liquor Control Commission on September 29th, 2025. By statute, the Medical Cannabis Commission shall consist of the 3 Liquor Control Commissioners, and the Governor may appoint 2 additional members. Due to the resignation of Commissioner Bailey and Commissioner Lowe from the Liquor Control Commission, they are no longer Medical Cannabis Commissioners. Any discussion about this? Next order of business is to record roll call.
Coffee,
Here.
meeting,
Here.
Oldenburg.
Here. We have a quorum. The next order of business is to approve the minutes from the last 2 meetings. So let's take the meeting minutes from September 2nd first. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion on the minutes? Is there, there's a motion to approve the minutes from September 2nd meeting?
Coffee,
Yes.
meeting,
Yes.
and Oldenburg.
Yes. The motion carries and the minutes are approved. Now let's take up the meeting minutes from the September 8th emergency meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Is Is there any discussion on the minutes? There is a motion to approve the minutes from the September 8th meeting.
Coffee,
Yes.
Muting.
Yes.
And Oliver.
Yes. Motion carries and the minutes are approved. The next order of business is a public comment period. I would like to note that the formal regulation promulgation process will have a public comment period and public hearing. That hearing is specifically designed to afford interested members of the public an opportunity to comment on the proposed regulations. Those comments will be reviewed by the commission and written responses to the comments are required. The public comment period here today is not a question and answer session. This will be an opportunity for the public to voice comments. Each speaker may comment only once. Offensive language, defamatory remarks, and hostile conduct will not be tolerated. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes and should state and spell their name for the record. The public comment period will be limited to 1 hour or less if there are not sufficient speakers. Can we have a show of hands of those who intend to speak? For those of you speaking today, is there anyone who needs to speak earlier during the public comment period and is unable to stay for the entire allotted time?
I'll be right here. You can sit right there. Hello, my name is Angelica Marsalia, ANGELICA
Can you pull the mic a little closer? Thanks.
Can you hear me now?
You can move it. There you go. Thank you.
I'm here to give notice and to remind this commission that your duty is to implement the laws Nebraskans passed, LB 437 and 438, not to rewrite them. Right now, this process is failing the public. By forcing public comment to be at the beginning of meetings to prevent us from responding to what is actually discussed, that is not transparency. The only way you hear public comments and request public emails and then conduct your meetings as if we aren't here, aren't giving comment, it's also not transparency. The transparency on your website, in quotations, transparency, their notes are posted in cherry-picked and reframed public comments. It's not transparency either. The people of Nebraska deserve honesty and accuracy. Even more concerning, the emergency regulations. By prohibiting flower, smoking, and vaping, and now attempting to limit cannabis sales only to tincture and pill form, you are directly contradicting Initiative 437. The law states cannabis means all parts of the plant, all parts of the genus plant, cannabis plant. However, and whether growing or seed, resin, extracted from any part of the plant, in every compound, manufacture, salt, derivative, mixture, and preparation of the plant, its seeds or its resin. And the penalties are inapplicable to the use, possession, and acquisition of cannabis for medical purposes. Nowhere here in 434 does it say, hold on one second, love. Nowhere here in 434 does it say this commission can decide how patients may use their medicine. Nowhere does it give you authority to change the form of cannabis patients can access. The people were clear, and 71% of voters approved it. Initiative 438 establishes this commission to regulate the business side, licensing, compliance, testing, safety, and yes, even the number of dispensaries and cultivation limits. However, that does not give you the power to contradict 437 or to redefine cannabis. It also does not give you authority to dictate to dispensaries what lawful forms of cannabis they may sell or may not sell. The Commission's role is to regulate the structure and safety of the industry for us medical patients, not to restrict patients' access to cannabis in any form. Nebraskans voted for 437 and passed it. Regulating businesses in regulated businesses within your scope is what your duty is. Regulating what products dispensaries can offer to patients or how we may use them is not. By limiting cannabis to tinctures and pills, the Commission is not implementing the law. You are rewriting it. That exceeds your authority. undermines the will of the voters, and is unlawful. Even the governor's signature cannot make an invalid regulation valid. By attempting to change how patients may use cannabis with the Commission's emergency regulations, this commission is violating Nebraskans' constitutional rights. Both the right of the patient to access the medicine that we voted on and approved, and the constitutional right of the people to enact laws through the initiative process without interference. I want to be clear. This is your notice. There will be lawsuits if this commission continues to violate its duty, strip away transparency, and alter the meaning of 437 and 438. Nebraskans will not allow their will to be disregarded. We are watching. We are paying attention. As you can see, the room is full, and I've heard this is the smallest room these meetings have been held in yet. Nebraskans expect this commission to honor the law that is written and approved. I respectfully request this full statement be entered into public record. Thank you. That was my comment. I have a copy here for your records. I'd like for the full statement to be in the notes.
We appreciate that.
Ready?
Thank you, Angel. Have a good day. My name is Leah, L-I-A. B-O-S-D. God, what is there to say that hasn't already been said? How many times do we have to walk down this same road of begging for our lives? How many times? 13 years. 13 years my friends have been trying to help their children that have seizures. 13 years. Does anyone know what that's like to have to fight for your child's life? Do you?
Yes.
Good. Because you show up. I hate coming here. It physically makes me sick. It's one of the hardest things in my life that I have to do. But I will tell you I do it because there's other patients who cannot. There are children with seizures that cannot. And I will show up till the day I die for this issue. And I was able to get off opioids, benzodiazepines, sedatives. Y'all, at the same time, I should have been dead. I should have been dead. I should have been dead. I don't know why God made me a weeble, but I bounced back, and here I am. Maybe it's the weight on me. I mean, you're not supposed to be fat anymore either, but here I am changing the world with a little beef on me, folks. Oh, what do you say? What do you say? What do you say? There's no begging left in me. It's all facts. It's evidence. And like, this is a Patient Protection Act. The last people that you are protecting is patients. The last people you are protecting is patients. What is wrong with you? I'm serious. What is wrong with you? Oh, I know you're not supposed to answer. I pray that God uses someone in this room to get through your hardened hearts. I mean, Bruce Bailey was going to meet with me. He never returned my call, but we know why. He was the only one that remotely would have seen me as a human being. Now it's you three. I'm sorry, Nebraska. I can't do more. I'm sorry.
Can we let the doctor that's on Zoom go? He keeps raising his hand.
I think we're gonna try to get the folks in the room first, and then we're gonna go to Zoom. Next speaker, if any.
I'll go. Hi there. My name is John, John. Last name is Reagan, Reagan. I live at 8120 South 178th Street in Omaha, Nebraska. I am resident. I am a Republican, have been all my life. I voted and voted and voted, but coming here and listening to you all is getting me to change the other direction because nobody wants to listen to us. You just don't want to listen to us. 71% of the people, and I know you've heard this over and over and over again, voted for this. They want this. Why are you all stopping this? It's a question that I sit and think about every day, is why. There are people suffering tremendously, and the way that you all are taking this and turning it the way that you're turning it is wrong. We won. If I was running for governor of the state of Nebraska and you all voted me out, you know what? I lost. I walk away. In the same sense, if I won, I should be able to go on, be the governor. 71% of the people voted for this. That means it should go on. And not by drops and suppositories and pills. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. You need flour, you need vaping. That's what we voted for. And if we don't get this changed, I will be one of the first ones out there getting signatures to make it legal. This is what we got to do. And is it called for? No, it's ridiculous. We need to sit and think about it logically, which we're not doing. Please stand up for the 71% that voted for this, not the 3 up there that 99.99% chance voted against it. Just because you voted against it doesn't mean it's wrong. Thank you for your attention.
Hi, I'm Denise Wegner. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. My name's Denisewegener. I know that the commission has heard my story the last few months, and what I'd actually like to do today, instead of sharing my story again, my stiff persons hasn't gone away, it's not getting better, but what I'd like to do is just correct a couple of things that were said at the last meeting by board members that I believe were incorrect. Dr. Oldenburg, you mentioned that all vapes have nicotine in them, which is untrue. We were sitting in the audience and looked at each other, so perhaps you misspoke, but that is not true. Additionally, the methods of ingestion or the methods of consumption of cannabis, you mentioned that tinctures were immediate, and that is also not true. They take anywhere between 15 and 30 minutes, whereas smoking flower or a vape is instant. For those of us who are suffering, myself included, it can be the difference between going to the emergency room and having to have medical intervention and not having to have medical intervention. So I think that, again, I can't echo what the first young lady said any louder or any clearer, but I think that restricting the ways in which we use our medicine is really not listening to the patients of Nebraska and not taking into the fact that we are having pain. We need compassion. We don't need more regulations to make it harder for us to achieve health and happiness, which is what everyone deserves. So I think that it's interesting that we are still in this position again where we don't really know what's going on, but I do want you to know that those of us who are educating ourselves are watching very closely, as well as the fact that we need to be able to have access to medications that can save our lives, and they truly can. So thank you for your time.
My name is Marcy Reed, and I've spoke before. I brought my son today, which is who I passed the petition for. He's 12 years old now. He has epilepsy and ADHD, and this is what he takes daily when he's not sick. He takes all of this daily. He takes this as a rescue for his seizures when he takes a seizure. I don't know why I never went through and looked at, like, they give you the stuff that tell you what the side effects are for the medicines. Probably because I would rather not know, because when I do go to the doctor, I do tell them that this is too much. He's been taking this since he was 5 or 6. It's too much medicine to take daily. Some of the side effects are body organs may be affected, reaction may be deadly, high risk of misuse can lead to alcohol or drug use disorder, may be rare, but some people have bad and sometimes deadly side effects. Signs of liver problems. Sudden deaths have happened to people in some heart-related problems of heart defects. And it just goes on and on. And I know you guys are doing what you're told to do, that there may be lawsuits if this becomes in effect, but I think, like, if you have children, you have to understand that getting him something more natural is so much better than putting this in his system daily. And I had some well, what happens if he grows up and he decides that he likes the medical cannabis a little too much? And I said, well, what happens if he grows up and he likes this Focalin a little too much? You know, it's a controlled substance. This is a controlled substance. Those are not good for the body either. And I just want my son to understand what is going on, why this has not happened yet, and what, you know, what you guys are thinking, and that's it. Thanks.
Good afternoon. Almost 14 years of this, fighting for my son, so just so you know.
Sure, your name, please.
Yes, it's Dominic Gillen, D-O-M-I-N-I-C-G-I-L-L-E-N. Good afternoon. The word integrity carries tremendous weight. The consistent commitment to moral and ethical principles, especially when it's hard and when no one is watching. Integrity is what over 630,000 Nebraskans believe the state would uphold when creating these rules. But their trust, the full weight of it, has now been placed on your shoulders, not on the shoulders of the politicians pulling the strings. And what we've come to realize is chilling. The integrity of a lawful election is being stolen by self-righteous politicians who beat their chests, trumpeting election integrity while quietly using you as the commission to undermine it. The commission, what's left of it, you will become the scapegoat. Can you honestly look in the mirror and say, I am honoring what I pledged to do in my public hearing, even as rules move forward that in your heart you have to know blatantly conflict with Statute 437? Maybe the taste of power has unduly influenced you. I honestly pray not. Nebraskans voted overwhelmingly for a comprehensive program, not the most restrictive. 2 of your fellow commissioners were suddenly asked to resign. Why? Bruce Bailey was guilty of what? Honoring his commitment to the voters? He should be hailed as a hero for upholding his principles. The politicians have made their heartless choice. You, on the other hand, still have one. You can show the integrity they've turned their backs on. I don't honestly envy you. I truthfully mean that. You were likely never told by your benefactors how unprincipled they would be. You saw the outrage at the LB 6-7 town halls. You're bound to see even more at the public hearings. And when the public is heard, where will the governor and the other prohibitionist politicians like Senators Anderson and Storm be? I doubt they will be standing beside you. When asked on his latest call-in show at the 22-minute, 37-second mark, because I called, who should answer to the public when this fails? The governor said, share concerns with the commission. So let's be clear. You guys aren't politicians, but the people will blame you. Is it worth it for a program you had little to no voice in shaping? Case in point, your public acknowledgement of the need for vertical licenses and not being able to limit whole plant use, exactly the opposite of what made it into the rules. The governor referred to you as volunteers getting a little help. But when this program fails, which it appears to be the goal, that help will disappear. You'll be the face of this. And when the Omaha tribe rolls out a functioning program, the truth will be absolutely undeniable. So if you believe this process lacks integrity, if your presence is being used to legitimize something illegitimate, then take back the only power you ever really had. Resign. Resign is an act of integrity to show that you won't be complicit and you won't be used as political cover. Resigning shines a light on the deception of those who put you here. And when the public asks who stayed silent, who refused to be part of the lie, what will they find? I ask you, not as commissioners, but as Nebraskans, look inward. Find your better angels. The weight of 630,000 fellow Nebraskans is squarely on you. And we won't quit 5 minutes before the miracle happens. I promise you. Thank you.
Hello, Shannon Coriel, SHANNON CORYELL from Omaha. And so I've caught the news lately. Not great, but I have a suggestion. Instead of doubling down on sabotaging a functioning cannabis program, you instead focus on rebuilding trust with the state. One of the ways you can rebuild trust is by implementing regulations that don't completely strangle the program. Give the patients of Nebraska a functioning program, which they have asked for. Your only job should be licensing, making sure facilities follow best practices, and history will look more kindly on you. Families are counting on this commission and the state to enact regulations that protect them, not stifle them. When a little old lady is having her grandson bring her medicine from Illinois once a month, had me bring her the petition because she is homebound, I'm here to speak for her. For the adorable elderly veteran who signed the petition saying he fought for the freedoms we have in this country, and as long as he is still alive, he will keep fighting for this. Some people's personal beliefs should not dictate what others can do. Continuing to treat cannabis as a gateway to death or hysteria is an outdated tactic. Nebraskans know better. We are known for being informed voters. We also pay attention, so please do the right thing. Change the narrative. We have the ability to be Nebraska nice. It's a much better story than the one currently circulating in the news. Thank you.
Mr. Botello, please shut me off if I go too long or what have you. My name is Colin Fury, and today I could go about this 100 different ways, but I'm going to focus my testimony on the president, on growing and processing, and we're going to finish up talking about an economic model called cartel. And pretty much yesterday, the President of the United States on the Truth Social posted a video that started out with the following statement: "You can revolutionize senior health care today." The video went on to talk about the economic impact of not fully integrating cannabis into the medical system, stating that it, according to PricewaterhouseCoopers, it costs American healthcare consumers $64 billion not integrating cannabis into healthcare. And the video ended, "You will deliver the most important senior healthcare initiative of the century, cementing your legacy and transforming aging care. Millions everywhere will thank you." And I understand you all are, all employees of the governor, so I just would like the governor to keep the thoughts of the President of the United States in mind as he moves forward. The last two meetings, there were limits set on plants, and even though Commissioner Bailey was trying to reach a middle ground, the consensus was cartel was the ideal, and continues to be the ideal economic model for medical cannabis and healthcare in Nebraska. And with the 1,250 plant limit for growers, let's say they're producing 2,000 pounds. And there's a number of different extraction methods, with kind of the cheapest way being to just do an ice bath, do an alcohol wash. I wouldn't, if we're looking for products that consumers can trust, we don't want to go the alcohol wash route. But I personally think CO2 critical extraction is the best, because you can remove the lipids, the fats, you can remove the heavy metals, but to put in a good CO2 extraction facility, your equipment's going to be $500,000. With the electrical and build out, it's going to be $1 million. And the average price right now in the hemp extraction market is about $5 to $10 per pound to extract. Well, if you're doing 2,000 pounds twice a year, say out in Pleasanton at Sweetwater Hemp, the only hemp extraction facility in Nebraska, they're charging their medium rate $7.50. 4,000 times $7.50 $7.50 isn't going to keep the lights on, and really, we're going to be keeping the drug cartels alive, because the price is going to be so over the top that these consumers are just not going to be able to afford it. And the thing I'd say to Governor Pillen is we can't allow cartel to become the rule for healthcare in Nebraska. We already have cartels when it comes to our rehab hospitals with the Jimmy Carter era certificate of need laws. We already have cartels when it comes to our nursing homes. And if he wants to make medical cannabis a cartel,
We're over 3 minutes. Can you wrap up?
yes, I will just quickly say that the reason that folks voted for President Trump in large part was because they felt that politicians spoke to them in a demeaning, belittling way, the same way that Commissioner Oldenburg would speak to Commissioner Bailey when he'd state absolute facts about tinctures taking 15 minutes to 60 minutes to take effect. And the problem you run into is for folks with myoclonic seizures, they want relief. So they'll take a dose, they'll keep having their myoclonic seizure, and then they're going to take another dose, and it's going to hit them like a freight train, and that's where the emergency, so you guys are going to, with kind of your policies, the way you're setting things up, there's going to be more emergency room visits, and I would just like to thank Commissioner Bailey for his moral witness, because when Commissioner Oldenburg was belittling to him at past meetings, he turned the other cheek every time. Thank you for your time.
Hello. My name is Odelia Hernandez Underwood. That's ODILIAHERNANDEZ. UNDERWOOD. I am from Bellevue, Nebraska. I am a board-certified nurse coach, a BSN prepared RN, and an assistant director of nursing at a long-term care facility. I am also a veteran. I am a mother, and I am a lupus warrior. I've been diagnosed with lupus for over 10 years now, and I used to take over 12 pills every day. There were times I felt just so defeated by our healthcare system that we have today, because I am a part of it. I know what it's like. I pass out those pills. I help people die at long-term care facilities, and we are not doing people any kind of justice in whatever we're doing here in Nebraska. We voted, and I think it's your part to do your job, basically. Cannabis is the most researched plant on the planet, and I am taking evidence-based medicine. So when you guys finally go down your rabbit hole and learn about what this plant is capable of doing, it is very versatile, and you cannot limit its uses to people, because you're just bringing them a death sentence. And regardless of what you do here, it's the children that really need this program, because any adult can just go across to Missouri and buy what they need. But what you're doing is you're killing these kids. Thank you for your time.
Can we move to that video?
Sure. Anybody else?
I'm sorry.
Afternoon. Troy Burgess, TROYBURGESS. I represent one of the grow license applications, and we submitted that. And what I want to speak on is behalf of the business side and the timing. In the application, you required and requested some information. And there's a lot unknown for us, and we're willing to gamble, pretty much everything we own when we start trying to start a new business. And a lot of the hesitations and questions people have is the limitations. We don't know what you guys are deciding, and that creates conflict for us. So we're trying to develop business plans and models and be able to launch businesses with a lot of uncertainty. The 1,250 plant thing, I believe, is low for a lot of growers, especially outdoor. Indoor, not so much, but outdoor, that's going to be a big problem for an outdoor grow. They can grow acres, and you can put 1,250 plants in 1 acre. That's where it create a timing issue as well, because outdoor grows can't start until probably the spring. You're probably looking at June. Indoors could start. We could start today at my place. And the problem we have is timing. These patients need relief, and if you guys require us to come from seeds, you're looking at 20 weeks before I can have a harvest. That's 5 months that nothing will happen. So if you approve us today, it's 5 months before I can get anything to our processor. You're probably looking at another 2 to 3 weeks before that processor could process it, and probably another 2 or 3 weeks before we can get it to a patient. So we're looking close to 7 to 8 months before we can get to relief to these patients. And I think no matter, we got to make a decision as a group, right? We go left, we go right. We got to make a decision. These patients need relief. We need to get it to them. We can work out some more details later, but we got to make a decision on what we want to do as a group. People wanted this. Patients need it. We as a business want to provide it, and we need to be able to do that in a timely manner. Again, 8 months is a lifetime when you're diagnosed with these diseases I keep hearing. I feel bad for them. We could treat them. The other problem we got is if you don't allow flower, flower helps balance out the business. So if you look at Iowa, they have very limited medical marijuana, and they have mainly about 1% of their population uses the cannabis coming from their dispensaries. I would bet that there's probably 7 to 8% more of that population that are buying it either in other states or buying it black market because they need the flower or the vape products. So you need to take that into account when you make these rules and regs. People will get their medicine, and either we can control it as a group, or we'll make them do things that they shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to make these decisions. If they need flower for the relief, let them have it. If they need a vape for instant relief, let them have it. What's the worst that could happen? I can make very clean medicine, and it'll be managed, it'll be lab tested. I can grow stuff that doesn't have heavy metals, doesn't have pesticides. If you buy weed on the black market, it will have that. They grow the cheapest, efficient way possible. And there's a lot of chemicals that they will use that I will not. My stuff's organic. So if we want to help the patients, there's a lot of things we can do, but we got to do it soon. We can work as a group and make good decisions. We can manage this, and we can get started today. Thank you.
Hello, I am Amy Burgess, AMY-BURGESS. I am the other half of Troy and Amy. This is not an enviable position to be in for you guys. I wouldn't want to be sitting there. I'm sure you're getting a lot of hate and a lot of terrible comments, but we are all here because Nebraska voted for this to be passed. It is part of your job to make sure that it's done in a timely and safe manner. Back to what Troy was saying about the smokable product. Being on, if there's anybody left from the original Liquor Commission, I have no idea. Being around liquor, you know there's a lot of different kinds of liquor. Now, if somebody was to say you can only have beer, that's all you can have for the rest of your life. Oh, and it has to be Schlitz. This is what you get. This is what the governor is choosing for you to have. You can have the Schlitz in a can, or you can have the Schlitz in a bottle. That's it. That's not what people want, is it? I mean, there's a lot of different kinds of alcohol. There's a lot of different kinds of marijuana. There's a lot of different ways that you can ingest marijuana. My 20-year-old daughter was having a seizure earlier this week. She has functional neurological disorder. She gets tics and seizures. She has tried tinctures, she has tried capsules, she has tried those things. That doesn't help her when she's smacking her head against a wall repeatedly. But if I give her a vape, she can take a hit of that vape and her seizures dissipate. Like that. She can take a hit off a joint and the seizures are done. That's not going to have to happen with the tincture. There's so many different ways that it is ingested and into our bodies, functioning with the ecocannabinoid system that already exists within our bodies. Like, you guys, I really feel like you need to educate yourself, surround yourself with experts, people who in the field who know what the heck they're talking about, because look, some of the ideas that I've heard come out of this committee are just silly, guys. I mean, come on, you're dealing with outdated beliefs and outdated morals. And instead of listening to people in the government who are not in the position to tell you the benefits of marijuana and the benefits of cannabis, try listening to experts and patients instead, and actually go with the will of the people. I will finish up. The last thing I have, I just have a little quote for you that I like, if I can find it. Thomas Jefferson in 1871 says, "If we allow the government to decide what foods we eat and medicines we take, we'll soon be living in as sorry a state as the souls living under tyranny." That is exactly what is happening in our country right now. You have the opportunity to not be part of it. Thank you.
Another speaker?
Hello, my name is Josh Egley, E-G-L-E, a large landowner out in Banner County, Nebraska. Also, I've been in the cannabis industry for about 20 years now in Colorado, Arkansas, and Wyoming. Part of an application for cultivation. And this might be something you guys are speaking on later in the meeting, but I just ask if you are able to share as much and how it's going and what it looks like going forward as far as the lottery and the grading of the applications and all that. So that's all I got. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Krista Eggers, Cristaeggers, and I'm here on behalf of Nebraskans for Medical Marijuana. While my time today is going to be focused on this commission, I cannot ignore the irony of the governor's comments just last week. He expressed his extreme disappointment in a specific commission, calling out what he described as a complete failure of leadership, a betrayal of the public trust that fell far short of what Nebraskans expect from officials entrusted with authority. He condemned them for lacking integrity. My question is simple. Why does the same standard not apply here? The governor casts public attacks on one commission, while this one carries out decisions taken straight from his own playbook. Let's be clear. This commission has disregarded the will of the people who entrusted you with the responsibility to implement the law as written. The emergency rules and regulations that you have approved represent not only a failure of leadership, but a direct violation of both statutes and the mandate of Nebraska voters. Rather than upholding the law, you have chosen to rewrite them, stripping patients of rights guaranteed to them, imposing barriers the law does not permit, and possibly ignoring deadlines that you're legally bound to meet. Integrity, as spoken about before, is claimed, not proven. It is not claimed, it is proven. It is not bending to political pressures from the governor or the attorney general. It is not hiding behind loopholes and red tape or pretending to follow the law while dismantling it. And right now, every action this commission is doing tells Nebraska that integrity is absent here. What remains simple is abuse of power. Your integrity will define your legacy, and right now your legacy is collapsing. A simple Google search of your names no longer calls to mind a respected judge, a woman who has been there for those struggling with addiction, or a physician recognized for compassion. Instead, it delivers headlines and decisions that cast doubt on your integrity. This is not a spin. This is not an attack. This is the undeniable record you are writing for yourselves by acting as servants to political agendas instead of the law enacted by the people. Like you, I too took an oath. Mine was not formal nor bound by statute. It was silent, born from the pleas and the suffering of an entire state. formed by the cries of parents who watch their children ravaged by seizures, from the voices of veterans tormented by trauma, and in the desperation of cancer patients fighting to survive. I believe I honor that oath every time I stand here, and I keep it because Nebraskans entrusted me to embody it, to lead with integrity, not in my words, but in my actions. The truth is, this commission still has time to change course. Before you is the clearest opportunity yet to demonstrate independence, leadership, and uphold the law as it was written and approved. I am not asking you to defend your missteps. I'm asking you to recognize them and have the courage to correct them. You can either continue down a path that erodes public trust and cements failure, or you can rise to the mandate of the people of Nebraska and leave a legacy of integrity and service to Nebraskans. The choice truly is yours.
I think it was Dr. Sherman that asked first to put his hand raised first.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Dr. Sherman Hom, Shermanhom. I am a PhD molecular microbiologist with 50 years of experience. I am the Director of Regulatory Affairs for Medicinal Genomics Corporation. I have 14 plus years experience in the cannabis testing and cannabis testing regulations area, which was mostly with the New Jersey Department of Health Division of Public Health and Environmental Laboratories. In 2012, I was the project manager that started the first state cannabis testing lab. Since 2017, I have created and analyzed 10 areas of cannabis testing rules from all U.S. states, D.C., U.S. territories, and tribal nations. After reviewing your emergency regulations, I have the following recommendations. I have a data set of what products are allowed by each jurisdiction. Nebraska is the only jurisdiction with a full medical cannabis program that does not allow flowers to be dispensed. Please note, Georgia is a low THC medical cannabis program, and Iowa does not have a medical cannabis program. They have a medical cannabidiol, or CBD program. The 2 total count tests should be eliminated because the result does not provide any information concerning harm to humans. If total count tests are included, one should follow the Minnesota model where these 2 tests are not a pass-fail test, but any result exceeding the action level will cause the cultivators to submit a report. This is why the level was exceeded. For edible products, include testing for Listeria monocytogenes. Use of remediation technology should not be allowed to lower microbial count because treated product can impact worker and consumer safety. Concerning connecting with other states, I recommend Chair Pepper of the Vermont Cannabis Control Board, large state, Senior Director of the Marijuana Enforcement Division of Colorado, Dominique Mendiola, and Heather Krug of the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. In support of your final draft, in support of your draft final regulations, MGC, as I stated, has 10 August 2025 updated data sets. Some key additional testing issues include allowable methods, maximum cannabis harvest, batch size for sampling for subsequent testing, sample amount for each type of test, proficiency testing, list of approved microbiological pesticides, cannabis product recall notices. And this is very important. All lab results must be submitted to the MCC, so that data analytics group can flag potential lab shopping. At no cost, I would be glad to help the subcommittee that will be drafting your testing guidance document. I will send you a copy of my comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think next was Christy. She's still on.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Christy.
Yes. I'm here. My name is Christy Knorr, Christy Knorr. I would be there today, but I'm not feeling well, so I wanted to not get other people sick. I'm coming to you today as a hospice nurse. I cannot tell you how many patients would benefit from this. I've had patients who don't want to take narcotics. They don't want to take the benzodiazepines, but they're also afraid because they don't want to break the law. My patients deserve better. My patients deserve a choice. 71% of Nebraskans voted for this. We didn't tell y'all that we wanted y'all to try to limit what we voted for. We want y'all to follow and do what we asked you to do. Follow the will of the voters. Follow what the people of Nebraska have asked you to do. We deserve better. Again, my patients deserve better. I have had patients in the past who were able to go from taking 15 to 20 medications per no medications with using medical cannabis. It works, folks. I promise you it works. And it's worth it. The research is there. Do what we've asked you to do. Do what we voted for. Take your own feelings out of it. Don't listen to the noise from the governor. And do what we voted for. Thank you.
Josh.
Hey, can you hear me? Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. My name is Joshua Orisman, O-R-I-S-M-A-N. Good afternoon, commissioners, members of the public, fellow Nebraskans. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today on behalf of patients, caregivers, and advocates who have worked tirelessly to bring safe, regulated medical cannabis access to our state. We need to respect the will of the voters. In 2024, Nebraskans approved medical cannabis through 2 ballot measures. That vote was clear. Patients should have access to cannabis in forms that meet their medical needs. The Commission's role is to implement the law, not rewrite it. Any attempt to narrow product access beyond what voters intended risks undermining public trust and delaying relief for patients. Why limiting products harms our patients? Well, the current restrictions, the emergency rules now prohibit smokable flower, vapes, and edibles, allowing only oral tablets, tinctures, patches, and topicals. Our patient needs, such as veterans with PTSD, have testified that inhaled cannabis is critical for sudden panic episodes. Patients with chronic pain and nausea explain that flavored or edible products make treatment tolerable, just as flavored medications are common in other areas of medicine. The medical evidence is inhalation provides rapid relief for conditions like migraines, seizures, and anxiety attacks, something that oral tablets cannot match. Neighboring states, we have 4 out of the 6 bordering states already allow product access with patient rates ranging from 0.55% in Iowa to nearly 2% in Missouri, restricting Nebraska's programmers, pushing patients across state lines or back to the illicit market. The economic in public dispensaries at 12 statewide creates artificial scarcity, which will drive up prices, reduce patient access in rural areas, and encourage unregulated, unsafe alternatives. By contrast, a balanced system with flower, vapes, and edibles ensures competition, affordability, and patient choice. Regarding the cultivation licensing, the Commission opened its first cultivation application window from September 4th through the 23rd. Applications are obviously now closed and licenses will be awarded by lottery, with applicants required to meet scoring thresholds for business plans, financial stability, and compliance readiness. Nebraska has capped cultivation at 4 licenses, each limited to 1,250 plants for a total of 5,000 plants statewide. This is a cautious start because it raises concerns. Will this supply be enough for an estimated 20,000 potential patients, roughly 1% of Nebraska's population, based on the neighboring state participation rates? My questions for the Commission is, how many cultivation applications were submitted during the September window? When will the Commission announce the results of the lottery and notify applicants? And what is the timeline for opening application periods for dispensaries and product manufacturers so patients can realistically expect access? Commissioners, Nebraska voted for a medical cannabis program that provides relief, not one that forces patients into narrow and practical options. Restricting access to only tablets and tinctures ignores medical realities, economic realities, and the will of the people. I urge you to honor the intent of the ballot measures, approve a full range of patient-accessible products, including flower, vapes, and edibles, and move swiftly to finalize cultivation and dispensary licensing so that patients can finally receive.
Sir, we're over 3 minutes. I need you to wrap up, please.
That's all I had. Thank you.
The next order. Can you hear me? The next order of business is an update on the emergency regulations and discussion of the formal regulation public hearing review process. The emergency regulations approved at the September 8th meeting have been approved and signed by the governor and are in full force and effect until 11:59 p.m. on December 7th, at which time they will expire unless extended for a second 90-day period. The public hearing for the formal regulations has been set for October 15th at 1 p.m. in the Meadowlark Room in the lower level of this building. All public comments will be captured in a record and will need to be reviewed and responded to by the Commission. If the Commission decides to make changes to the regulations and those changes are substantive in nature, a subsequent public hearing will be required to be held and the process to be repeated. The responses to the public hearing comments and any potential changes to the regulations will need to be brought back before the Commission and voted on. What we need to discuss today is how the Commission wants to handle the review of the record, preparing responses, and bringing those proposed responses, as well as proposals for changes to the regulations back to the Commission. Do we want to designate individuals to review the comments, draft responses, and bring recommendations to the Commission? What type of discussion?
What do you suggest?
Good question. Do we all look over them, or we all take a portion, or?
It probably makes sense that we all look at it
We're down to 3.
and then have people form responses.
Okay. Sounds good.
Probably some of them a lot of the comments will be very similar.
Yes, we'll try to consolidate them into groups so that if they are very similar, the same response would be applying to all of them.
And how those responses they just get put on the website? Do we send them to people? How will people know what?
They have to be published, I believe.
We probably
Yeah, I'll get that. I know that when the packet goes to Attorney General, the hearing summary plus the commission's responses go to the Attorney General for the final review of the regulation before they can go to the governor. The hearing themselves is public and open to the public. I'll find out what we do for whether or not we have to publish the commission's responses. If the commission chooses to change regulations after the public hearing, as stated, and those changes are material to the regulations, they will have to be redrafted and go to another public hearing.
And that's 30 days, right? 30
You have to have, at least 30 days notice of the next public hearing. So after it's reviewed, the commission makes the decision of whether or not any changes, if they are going to be changed, those changes will have to be drafted. Those regulations will have to be published, and the hearing date, at least 30 days, will have to be published as well before we can go to another public hearing on the changes.
It sounds like the responses on the hearing summary are not necessarily required to be published, but it is a public document that would be available upon request. Okay.
So we'll just kind of divide that up. Is there a motion and a second to divide this up?
So moved.
I'll second.
So we have a motion from both Commissioner Coffey and Commissioner Muting. Should we do a roll call?
Coffey?
Yes.
Muting?
Yes.
And Oldenburg?
Yes. Motion carries. The next order of business is cultivator license application review updates. The commission received 39 applications for cultivator licenses. Those applications were each assigned an identifier. The identifiers were sent to the Office of the Chief Information Officer, which ran the identifiers through a randomization lottery process. The lottery for the cultivator licenses was held on September 25th, 2025. The randomized identifiers were returned to the commission in the order drawn by the lottery process. At the last meeting, an evaluation team was designated to review and evaluate the applications. Commissioners Bailey and Lowe were two of the members of the three-person evaluation team. The intent of the commission was to have the evaluation team provide recommendations for licensure at today's meeting based on the scoring process. The purpose of assigning an evaluation team was to ensure the recommendations to the commission reflected more than one person's opinion, and the regulations require an average score above 70, and you can't average just one score. As a result, applications were unable to be evaluated prior to today's meeting. We need to designate a new evaluation team so the commission can keep the licensure process moving forward. How do we want to do that, and do we want to designate certain members, or do we want to have everybody review it?
Well, everybody's only three of us. I think it makes sense.
Yeah. For all three of us. Okay.
For all three of us to evaluate.
Okay. Do we want to review and score the applications independently and then submit the scores of each member for tallying and bring the results back to the board?
That makes sense.
Anything else?
No.
So all three of us will be evaluators, and then will we send the scores independently to Brenda? Okay. Okay. And then you'll tally and review that and see if we need to keep going on in the process if someone doesn't.
Once the scores are completed and submitted, and the average scores are calculated, we will review those scores at your next meeting, and the commission will have to vote then based on the scores whether or not to approve the license or deny it. And if we don't have 4 licenses approved out of the first 4 pulled from the lottery, then we'll have to go back into another evaluation process.
I know there were questions about that earlier from the public comment. I think you just stepped outside, but
we understand the essence of time here. I think someone talked about how long it takes to get plants going, and so we understand that. We would just ask, I guess, for your understanding that this is a situation that none of us created in this, where we're at right here. So we would just hope you understand that we're working through this the best that we can to make sure that we get the licenses issued in a timely manner and evaluated and issued in a timely manner.
So Chair, I think you need a motion and a vote on designating yourselves as evaluators.
So moved.
I'll second.
Go ahead with the roll call.
Just give me 1 second. Okay, Coffey?
Yes.
Keating?
Yes.
And Oldenburg?
Yes. Motion carries. The next order of business is a discussion on the statute of the interlocal operation agreement with the Liquor Control Commission. The revisions approved by this commission at the September 2nd meeting were made and provided to the Liquor Control Commission. We've received comments back, and they requested changes which have been incorporated into the current document. The sole request they made was to add the name of the new executive director, Micah Chaffee, as the signature on behalf of the Liquor Control Commission. You have a copy of the most recent version of the agreement. Is there any discussion, questions, and concerns?
No.
I don't think I have any. Okay, is there a motion and a second to approve the agreement?
So moved.
I was trying to read that.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Coffey?
Yes.
Keating?
Yes.
Oldenburg?
Yes. The motion carries. Next order of business is an update on the procurement of a state inventory tracking system. Commissioner Bailey and I we talked about this at the last meeting, and he was to help me with this request for information that we're going to be putting out for a seed to sale state inventory tracking system. And so that won't be happening. So if there's anybody else here that wants to help with that, I've gathered some RFIs from other states. I just got one from California the other day. And so as soon as we can, put our minds together and decide on what we want in our RFI, we can send it over to Michelle Potts, and she'll put it in the right format for us. And basically, this is just gathering information from any seed to sale company that wants to be part of our state inventory tracking system, knowing that we have no money to do that. So it's our RFI will look different than these other ones that I've been staring at and trying to make sense of. So if there's anybody here that wants to help with that, let me know. Or we're going to be having another meeting soon. Maybe we'll have a new commissioners. Maybe. Do we have to vote on that?
No.
Okay. All right. The next order of business is to discuss updates on any individual research the commissioners have done and would like to share. Does anyone have anything they'd like to discuss? I don't think I do either. Other than, I know there are folks here that have experience from other states, and so, sorry, I'm backtracking a little bit to seed to sale, but if you guys have, if people here have experience in working with some of these seed to sale and what is important, please reach out. I would like to hear your input on that. The next order of business is to set the date for our next regular scheduled meeting. I suggest we set a meeting date in early October so we don't further delay the licensing process. Still give the new evaluation team time to evaluate. Are we available to meet October 7th at 2 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll plan on October 7th, next week, October 7th at 2 p.m. And this will be reviewing the applicants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Assuming that you're done with your evaluation of about a week, at that meeting, we would be able to review the scores and you can make decisions as to first score to award or not.
Okay.
Okay, do we need to go into executive session? Okay, let's get that. Then, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We have motions from Treasurer's Copy and Newton. Any discussion on adjournment? So there's a motion to adjourn this meeting.
No, we do a roll call on adjourn, just adjourn.
Okay,
Or adjourn.
It is adjourned at 2:25.